Hi everyone! We're going to spend some time today talking about texture sets, because just like in our last video, we can break our outfits if we don't know what these are or how to work around them. Here's what we'll be covering. Texture sets are not actually part of your outfit, they are part of the plugin. But how you structure your outfit NIF matters if there is a texture set in that outfit's ESP. For this example, we are going to add the demo jeans into our tutorial mod and use a texture set to make them look more like denim jeans. I'll be going fairly quickly in this video, as I assume you know the tools we will be using and/or have watched this tutorial series up to this point. But please pause or go back to previous videos as you need. Texture sets are a cool way to reuse the exact same outfit NIF files, but make different variants of the outfit by just applying a new texture to them. Remember from our previous video about meshes that they are just the wire cage that makes up the outfit's shape. Unless you use vertex colors, all the color of the outfit comes from the texture file that gets painted on top, and the path to those texture files is included in the BS lighting shader properties of the NIF. If we want to use a different texture, say the blue version instead of the orangish colored one for this outfit, we have to point to a different texture file. You can do that by making a copy of the NIF and changing the file path here, but then you need two NIFs for the exact same mesh shape. And that's not the most efficient use of space on your hard drive. Instead, we can use just one NIF, create a second version of the outfit in the plugin, and then point the plugin to apply a different set of texture files to that NIF. The critical factor for successfully using texture sets is the mesh order in your NIF. The plugin only knows which mesh to recolor based on the number order of meshes in the NIF. So the order must be the same in the original NIF and any edited NIFs that you make for the same outfit. This will make more sense as we walk through an example in this video, and it's a pretty nifty approach. I'm a big fan of texture sets, and I think they are sometimes underutilized, probably because of lack of awareness and understanding about how to use them. So texture sets are great, but they can't solve every retexture challenge. You can use them to change all types of texture files, including the diffuse texture, normal map, environment map, cube map, and so on. But you can't use a texture set to change vertex colors, specular color, or emissive color. So if your outfit uses a specific vertex color, a specific reflection or specular color, or a specific glow or emissive color for each variant, then you'll have to make a new NIF for each one, since those aspects of the shader properties can only be changed within the NIF itself. This is reasonably rare, however, as most Skyrim outfits don't use vertex colors and don't use emissive colors to glow, and specular color, the reflected light, is usually white or some other light neutralish color. The outfits in our demo mod don't have vertex colors, and they all use the same specular and emissive properties, so using texture sets is a great way to get different looks with the same NIF. We're going to do this with our jeans by adding a texture set to the plugin. If you did not already grab the jeans meshes from the demo mod's optional downloads, then go ahead and do that if you want to follow along. Also download the new jeans textures from that same section. You can download the files with your mod manager and just leave them as their own mod, or merge them with the existing demo mod during the installation. Or you can manually download them and move the files into the demo mod yourself. If you manually download, the easiest thing to do is just drag the meshes folder from the archive right into the white space here where the mods meshes folder is. Then do the same thing for the textures. Drag the folder from the archive into the white space where the mods textures folder is. The folders will be merged, and inside it should look like this when you are done. We kind of did this during the weight painting video, but let's just quickly redo the weight painting on both the size 0 and size 1 jeans to make sure they are both correct. Bring in the size 0 jeans, and the size 0 top. I'm going to run through this pretty quickly since we did this before, but please feel free to pause if you need more time, or go back and watch video number 31 about weight painting basics if you have any trouble. Right-click on the body mesh and set as reference. Normally I would bring in a naked body for this, but using the one from our demo top is okay for our purposes. Now right-click on the jeans mesh and select Copy Bone Weights. Set the radius value here to 7 so it will reach the vertices at the bottom of the pants leg. I know to use 7 thanks to trial and error with this particular mesh. Let's make sure that did the trick. Go to Shape, Mask Weighted Vertices, and then look to make sure everything is masked. If not, copy bone weights again and set the radius to 8 or higher to get all the vertices weighted. Then export the size 0 jeans as a new NIF. I'm putting it right back here in the demo mod. To save time, I'm going to change the existing file in the upper window here to jeans_0 old and save this new one as the correct file, jeans_0.nif. Now we will transfer the bone weights to the size 1 jeans so that they match. First, set the size 0 jeans as the reference by right-clicking on it and set as reference. Then bring in the size 1 jeans, select it, right-click, and choose Transfer Bone Weights. Have a quick look at the Bones tab to make sure it looks correct. Try some poses if you want to double-check that all is working well, and then export the size 1 jeans as a new NIF. Like with the other size, I'm going to change the old one in the top window here to jeans_1 old and save my new one as the final jeans_1.nif file. Now we are ready to add these jeans to our plugin. I'm going to go through this step fairly quickly as well because we spent an entire video on adding outfits to the game already. Please refer back to video number 27 as needed. I will be showing you how to do this with SSEEdit because that's what I prefer, but you can and should use the creation kit if you like that better. Open up SSEEdit, or the CK, and find the demo mod plugin file. Our jeans are basically just like the existing pants, with a slightly modified shape, so we will just copy the pants records and use them as the template. First, find the armor add-on record for the pants, right-click on it, and select Copy as New Record into. In the pop-up window, change the name to something relevant, like Mom Tutorial Jeans Gray AA. Hit OK, and then in the next window, type Simply in the filter box at the top to find our demo mod quickly. Tick the box next to it and hit OK again. Find the pants armor record and follow the same process. Right-click, Copy as New Record into, change the name, pick the plugin, and we are all set. Now find the armor add-on record for the new jeans and change the world model so that it points to our jeans NIF. Remember to use the size 1 file name here. Scroll through the rest of the record and make sure everything looks right, which it should because we are only changing the shape of this outfit piece, which is the NIF. The partitions, etc. are still the same. Now find the armor record for the new jeans. Most of this will also be the same as the original pants, but we need to change the name and the armature path. For the name, I'm going to call this Demo Jeans, gray leather. Then change the ground model to jeans_gnd.nif. And finally, be sure to change the armature so it points to the jeans armor add-on record that we just made. The rest of this can stay the same, or feel free to change the weight, value, and so on if you want. When you are done, click up here and save. I like to save backups of my plugins when I'm editing them, so I usually tick this box on, but you can do whatever you like with that. Click OK and let's move on to the next step. So now we've added the jeans into the plugin, and if you go into the game, you can load them up and wear them. But they are still gray and leather, and jeans should be denim, right? So let's make a new variant and apply the denim texture that we downloaded. In SSEEdit, we will first set up the texture set in our demo mod plugin. There are already 2 texture sets in this mod, so we can just copy one and change it. But if you need to add one from scratch, you would first right-click on the plugin name, go to Add, then scroll down using the tiny little arrow at the very bottom of the drop-down list until you find TXST texture set. Select it, and that category will be added to the plugin. As I said, since there are already texture sets in our plugin, we could just copy one into a new record and edit it for our new textures, but we're going to continue adding it from scratch so that you can see how it's done. To add new records to a category, right-click on the main category name, select Add, and then the record type, which is TXST texture set in our case. You can keep whatever ID number it suggests, so just click OK and the empty record will be created. Select the new record and notice that it's all empty since we added it from scratch. That's fine, we're going to fix that right up. First, we should give it an editor ID. So right-click in that box and select Add. Then slow double-click on that line and type in a name. Texture sets by convention usually end with TS or TXT or something similar. I'm going to call mine Demo Jeans Blue Denim TS. Then right-click in the Textures box and click Add. Here is where we list the texture paths that we want our new variant to use. In the Demo Mods folders, open Textures and find the new Jeans DDS files. There are only 2 for this outfit, jeans.dds, which is the diffuse or the actual picture file. The other is the normal map called jeans_n.dds. By convention, normal maps include _n in their name, and these provide the bumps and roughness to make our fabric look real. Texture sets require both of these files at a minimum. Even if you are reusing the same normal map for every variant of the outfit, you must put its path here in the texture set. In the first line, labeled diffuse, enter the file path simply _close \demo /Sierra /jeans.dds. Remember that you don't include either the meshes or textures folders when putting in their file paths here. Skyrim already knows that those are the folders it needs to look in. In the second line, labeled normal/gloss, enter the file path simply _close \demo /Sierra /jeans_n.dds. If you have different files for environment maps, cube maps, etc., then you can also put those in here. This schematic shows where the different files should go, and yes, it matters which line you put which file path into. Okay, once we have our new diffuse texture listed in the top line, and our normal map listed in the second line, and we're done setting up the texture set for these jeans. Let's go ahead and save the plugin again so we don't lose any work if it crashes. We are going to keep the gray jeans as one item and make our denim jeans as a new variant. This means making another set of records in the plugin. First, let's make a template just like we did before. We can copy both records at once by clicking the first, holding down Control, and clicking the second. Then right-click, copy as new record into, and we can edit the beginning, the prefix, or the end, the suffix, of the name. I'm going to just edit the end of this by removing gray AA and replacing it with denim AA. Just click OK for any boxes that you don't need, and click OK at the end, select the Demo Mods plugin, and hit OK one more time. Now we select the new template and change it for our jeans variant. In the Armor add-on record, we don't have to change the NIF because we're going to use the same one. But we want to apply our new texture set to it. To do that, right-click here on Alternate Texture and click Add. Then do that again in this line. Here is where we point to the texture set that we just created. And the critical point for making this work is to tell it which mesh in the NIF we want the texture applied to. This is very important. The 3D name doesn't really matter, But the 3D index, which is the mesh order number, is key. We have to enter a number here that corresponds to the mesh order in the NIF, and the meshes in the NIF are always numbered starting with 0. Don't question it. It's Skyrim. For our genes, this is easy because we only have one mesh, so we will keep the default value of 0 here. Note that there must be a number here even if you only have one mesh, and the number will be 0 if you only have one mesh. For something like our demo top, there would be 3 meshes. So if we were doing that NIF, we would use numbers 1 or 2 depending on whether we want to change the top or the panties. And if we wanted to change both, we would just put more lines in here, like this, and note that each mesh listed can point to a different texture set. Okay, so the critical parts here are to use the correct mesh number and make sure it's pointing to the right texture set. Although the mesh name doesn't really matter, I always put it in anyway. And that's it for the armor add-on of our new variant. Now to fix up the armor record. First, I'm going to change the editor ID since it shouldn't have the AA on the end. Just slow double-click, select the AA, hit backspace or delete, and then enter. Now for the rest of the record, we can leave almost everything the same, except we always have to remember to change the armature down at the bottom. Make sure that points to the new variant that we just set up. Another thing to change here is the name. Let's make this one Demo Pants, parentheses blue denim. And then for the ground model, we also want to apply our new texture set. So just like before, right-click and add alternate texture. Do that again, and then follow the same rules we discussed earlier. Mesh order number goes here, which remember starts with 0, and then point to the texture set that we want it to use. Note that for ground models, the mesh numbers won't always be the same as in the wearable NIF. For example, anything that includes the body or a body part in the wearable NIF will probably not have the body in the ground model, and so the mesh numbering will likely change. For example, our demo top would now use mesh numbers 0 and 1 for the top and panties, respectively, for the ground model alternate textures. And once we've got that all set up, then we save the plugin and exit SSEEdit. And we're ready to go into Skyrim to see how it looks. Load up a female character, since we still don't have male meshes made for these pieces, and use the console or whatever other method you prefer to add the demo genes to your inventory. I'm going to add both our new versions so we can test them both. You can just arrow up in the console menu to change the ID quickly to save yourself some typing. Then put on the gray jeans. It looks good. And swap to the denim jeans. And it looks pretty okay. This is not the most spectacular retexture you'll ever see, but you get the idea. Run around, do some different animations, and make sure you like the weight painting and the fit of the mesh. If you want to make any tweaks, feel free to take it back into Outfit Studio and change it however you wish. Just remember all the rules about size 0 versus size 1, and when something will need to be re-weight painted or not. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what to do if you want to delete a mesh from an outfit that uses texture sets. Because texture sets rely on the mesh order number, you actually can't delete a mesh from an outfit that uses texture sets unless it is the very last mesh on the list in the original outfit, or unless you want to edit the plugin or make a patch for it. What you can do instead is to keep the mesh, but delete almost all the vertices from it and essentially just hide the mesh that way. You might be able to get it down to just one vertex, which will not show up at all because you need a triangle in order for any part of the texture to show. But if that doesn't work, you can keep just 2 or 3 or 4 vertices. Delete all the rest, resize the ones that are left if you need to so that they form a very small shape, and then, if you need to, you can move them so they sit inside or underneath something else. They shouldn't show up in the game, but they will still exist as a mesh and thus prevent breaking the texture set. Sorry this one turned out so long, but I think you'll appreciate knowing how to use texture sets if you get into making your own mashups or outfits. And one key takeaway here is that your meshes must always stay in the same order as the original NIF if an outfit uses texture sets in the plugin. Otherwise, the new texture will not be applied, or it will be applied to the wrong mesh and things will look crazy. Pay attention to mesh order in the NIF, and check the plugin for texture sets if something doesn't look right. You can also make a plugin patch if you need to adjust the texture set. It can be an ESL flagged ESP, so it won't take up a plugin slot. Thanks for sticking with me till the end of this video, and I'll see you again soon for another tutorial. Bye!